Hello students, standard 7th revision of the chapter 13 in physics, motion and time. Now we learn about the speed and another things like measuring the speed, measuring the time, different devices to measure the time, ancient times. We learn about the pendulum, time period, etc. Now, about the graph. When we draw a graph in especially physics, to draw a graph we need a graph page on which we draw two perpendicular lines, a horizontal line and a vertical line. Horizontal line is known as x-axis and the perpendicular means the vertical line is known as the y-axis, and the intersection of x-axis and y-axis is a point which is known as the origin. Now generally in the physics, when we draw graph we need only the positive numbers. So we can use a certain part only, because when we draw the two perpendicular lines, it divides the graph in 4 equal parts. But as we need only positive numbers, so it will be only here. So rather to draw like that, we used to draw like this. This is x, this is O, this is x dash, y, O, y dash. So x, O, x dash is x-axis, y, O, y dash is the y-axis, and O is the point of origin or the origin. Now, when we generally draw the graph, two values are there, and as I told you we need only the positive values, so we will choose only that one quadrant of it. Now generally on x-axis and y-axis, what type of measurements we have to draw? Like if it is a distance against time graph. So when it is distance against time graph, we know that time is an independent variable. Means time does not depend on any other quantities. So independent quantity we always put it on the x-axis. And the dependent quantity means like distance. Distance covered is measured in the time, that in how many time, how much distance is covered. So the distance, the speed or another acceleration, etc. you will learn in the higher standard about it. So all that independent quantities we have to, dependent quantity we have to show on the y-axis. And according to the x-axis and y-axis we plot the points, and by joining the point we draw the graph. But when we draw the graph, the one more important thing is that to choose a scale. And to choose a scale is a very important, especially on the y-axis. On the x-axis it will be little simple, but on the y-axis, when we have to put a distance here, then some points should be kept in the mind. First thing is that when we drawing the graph, what is the thing that we have to keep in the mind? That first is that the difference between the highest value and the smallest value. So you have to check which is the highest value in the graph, like distance, which is the smallest, and then according to that you have to choose the scale. Second thing is that the intermediate values of each quantity. Intermediate value means if you choose only like time, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, but intermediate is in between coming them, that also should be mentioned properly so that you can easily understand the graph. So second thing is that you have to keep in the mind about the intermediate values of the each quantity. And third thing that you have to utilize the the maximum part of the graph. If you choose a very small scale, and then your graph will be finished in only the lower part. So you have to choose a scale such that you can use the maximum part of the graph paper. So that is also very, very important thing. So these three things you should keep in the mind. So you can write down the answer of your question like that. Now what are the uses of the distance time graph? Generally the distance time graph are very, very important because from the graph we can get the idea of different time, like information about the motion. It provides a variety of information about the motion. Means either it is the uniform motion or it is the non-uniform motion according to the shape of the graph. If it is a straight graph, or if it is a curved graph, or it is a zigzag graph, according to that it can be understood that it is a non-uniform or a uniform motion. Similarly, at any time if you want to find the distance covered by that object from the graph, we can easily find out the distance covered at any instant of time. Similarly, as we saw that we can understand it is accelerated motion or non-accelerated motion. If the graph is going upward, it means that it is accelerated motion, but if it is going downward, it is like opposite motion, which is decelerated, or you can say that it is retarded motion. And if it is zigzag, then you can say that sometimes it is increasing, means it is accelerated, sometimes it is decreasing, it means it is the retarded motion. So from the graph we can get different type of ideas. Now we are going to learn about some questions which are regarding to the the examples, means sums. Mathematics is there also. So let us do with one example here. A runner covers a distance of 100 meter in 10 seconds in a running competition. Here S stands for second. In a running competition, find out the average speed in meter per second and kilometer per hour. So here distance covered is given, also given the time taken, and we know the formula to find the speed. So here distance covered is how much? 100 meter, and time taken is 10 seconds. So now we know the formula to find the average speed. So now we will do here. Therefore, average speed of runner is equal to distance travelled divided by time taken. So he cut the distance of 100 meter. So 100 meter divided by 10 seconds. 0 zeros are cancelled. So his average speed is 10 meter per second. But now we have to find that in the kilometer per hour also. So now again, distance is how much? 100 meter, but we want to convert it into kilometer. We know that 1 kilometer is 1000 meter, so we have to divide by 1000, so we can convert it into the kilometer. So that is 100 upon 1000, so 1 upon 10 kilometer. And similarly, time is given in second. We know that 1 hour is 60 minutes and 1 minute is 60 seconds. So 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds. So if we convert second into the hour, we have to divide it by 3,600. So that is equal to 10 upon 3,600 hours. So now speed is equal to distance divided by time. So here distance is 1 upon 10 and divide by 10 upon 3,600. That is kilometer, that is hours. So now it is denominator in the denominator, so it will be inverted, 3,600 upon 10. Here 2 zeros are cancelled, so the speed is 36 kilometer per hour. So here, if we have to find meter per second, then distance should be in the meter and time should be in the second. But if you want to count in kilometer per hour, then distance must be converted into kilometer and time also must be converted into hour. So we divide by 1000 here and divide by 3600 because of the conversion, and then we again use the same formula, and then by simplifying we get the distance, the speed, that is another one is 36 kilometer per hour. It means that these two values are same, only the units are different, therefore it is 10 meter per second and here it is 36 kilometer per hour. So both the speeds are equal, but because of the different unit we use, the answers are also different here. Now let us take one more example in which the speed is given, time is given, but we have to find the distance. So here Salma takes 15 minutes from her house to reach the school on a bicycle, and the bicycle has speed 2 meters per second. We have to calculate the distance between her house and school. So here speed is given, that is 2 meters per second. Now time taken is 15 minutes, but as we know that here in the speed it is meter per second, it means that this minutes also we have to convert into second. So 1 minute is 60 seconds. So 15 minutes is equal to 50 multiplied by 60, that is 900 seconds. So now we know that speed is equal to distance divided by time. So if you take time this side, you will find the distance. So therefore distance is equal to speed multiplied by time. Distance is equal to speed multiplied by time. What is the speed? 2 meter per second. Multiplied by what is the time? 900 seconds. So here second will be gone, and 9 to the 18, 1800 meter. So the distance between Salma's home and school is 1800 meter, or you can say 1.8 kilometer. If you convert it into the kilometer by dividing the with 1000, you can say that it is 1.8 kilometer. Or if you write down 1800 meter, also not a wrong answer. Now, similarly, you can do the other examples if given. Second, now we learn about the time period of a pendulum. We saw that the time taken by a pendulum to complete one full oscillation is known as its time period. So now we know that we cannot find a time period directly by one oscillation, because one oscillation will be finished very quickly. So what do? We find the time taken for more oscillations, like 10 or 20 or 30 oscillations, and divide that time by the number of oscillations. So here a simple pendulum takes 32 seconds to complete 20 oscillations. So here number of oscillations is 20 and time taken is 32 seconds. So we know that time period is equal to time taken divided by number of oscillations. So we divide by 20, then we get the time for one complete oscillation. So time is 32 seconds divided by 20. So now 16 to the 32, 10 to the 20. So 16 upon 10 seconds, that is 1.6 seconds. So the time period of this particular pendulum is 1.6 seconds. So we learned the two types of sums. I will give you some examples for your practice also. So you are going to finish the session and the revision of this chapter also. And in the PDF, as I told you, I will give you some more examples. Thank you very much.